Are you a business analyst looking for your place on the Scrum project? Or maybe you want to expand your career into the product owner role. In this video, we're going to look at what are the product owner responsibilities, who is product owner in Scrum Agile projects, and what does that mean to your career? I'm Valerie Mawhinney, and I'm a certified project management professional, and I've been delivering IT projects for over 40 years. I've done it all: developer, QA, business analyst, project manager, Scrum Master, support desk, and consultant. But by far, Scrum Product Owner is my favorite. An Agile Product Owner is the project director. You interact with everyone: business stakeholders, users, development team, and operations teams. And you lead the team to deliver the most valuable features. So we're going to cover how the product owner role differs from product manager, Scrum Master, and business analyst. We're going to look at 3 key competencies of a Scrum product owner. And be sure to stay to the end, and I'll show you how to use ChatGPT to get suggestions on product owner interview questions. Please leave a comment below. What is your role today in IT projects? Are you a business analyst? Are you interested in becoming a product owner? And what other questions do you have about Scrum Product Owner? First, we'll look at product owner versus product manager. Now, the product manager is responsible for the products and services that your company is selling. They have the vision, customer needs, opportunities, and the target market. They do the planning and design of the product lines, the production of those products, and they are responsible for life cycle management, from launch to sales targets to working with sales teams and marketing teams. So please don't confuse the products and services your company is producing with the project deliverables. For example, Sophie owns Sophie's Threads, and she sells trendy clothing through an e-commerce web portal. Sophie is the product manager, and she envisions the fashion trends, including design and production, works with sales on promotions. This is a long-term role. And our Sophie decides to redesign the e-commerce website. So Sophie's going to recruit a Scrum product owner. And she recruits Oliver, and Oliver is responsible for representing the stakeholders, such as Sophie, and other stakeholders in the company, such as marketing and the sales teams. He becomes the voice of the users to the project development team. This is a short-term project role, and projects have a defined beginning and a defined end. It can be a bit fuzzy when the software is the product sold by your company. For example, Jira is software that is a product. Also, the office tools such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's important to continue to divide those roles because the product manager works closely with the product owner. And if the product manager tries to take on the product owner roles, it's going to jeopardize both of their responsibilities because they don't have time or skills to do both. Next, we're going to talk about product owner versus Scrum Master. Our product owner and our Scrum Master work very closely together, and they are 2 key roles on the Scrum team along with the development team. Both the product owner and Scrum Master attend all Scrum ceremonies, and the product owner is the bridge between our stakeholders and our developers, making sure all of the user needs are represented to the development team. They manage the product roadmap and the Scrum backlog, which together make up the project scope. They evolve that scope throughout each Scrum iteration. Our Scrum Master ensures that our Scrum processes and principles are being followed. They lead the continuous improvement processes, which is a cornerstone of Scrum methodology, and they lead the team through all of the Scrum ceremonies. Our third comparison is between our product owner versus business analyst. You may be wondering why the business analyst role is not identified in Scrum. Well, they are. Business analysts are included in the development team. Product owner does a great deal of business analysis, and I've done a great deal of business analysis as the product owner. But on Scrum, it's cross-functional, and the development team can share in the business analysis responsibilities. So our product owner also needs some project management skills and a clear understanding of the software development process. Business analysts aren't alone in sharing these responsibilities across the team. All Scrum team members are expected to stretch beyond their key role. And at any time, any of the development team and the Scrum Master and the product owner may be asked or expected to fulfill other roles that are within their skills. Scrum teams work collaboratively and collectively take ownership of the development process. There's some important reasons for this, and that's to break down silos that can create delays. Because if our product owner is the only one who can do business analysis, then it causes a bottleneck, and our development team may end up waiting without work to do. So it's very helpful for our developers to be able to take on some of those responsibilities. Let's review the key product owner roles and responsibilities and ask the question, what does a product owner do? Our product owner has 3 key competencies. The first one is communication and collaboration. And our first group that's key to communicate with is our business stakeholders and users. Our key responsibility is to discover our requirements through brainstorming and workshops, user environment visits, active listening, and this has to be either virtual or in person. Personally, I've been doing virtual workshops and Scrum ceremonies for the last 4 years, not only because of the isolation imposed on us because of the pandemic, but also because we have team members spread across the country, and we couldn't be in the same room if we wanted to. You also need to develop a deep understanding of the information space, the requirements. You really need to own this information. You can't fake this. You need to understand exactly what your user problems are, what their needs are, and this is how you're going to gain the trust of your stakeholder team, is through your knowledge, demonstrating your knowledge, guiding them through this process. And you will also inspire them with imagination to see beyond what is and suggest what can be done. The second team that you're going to be communicating and collaborating with is, of course, the development team. As product owner, you're fully integrated with the Scrum development team. It's your responsibility to attend all of the Scrum ceremonies and lead the backlog refinement ceremonies for sure. You're also a servant leader in partnership with the Scrum Master, constantly identifying and removing impediments to team progress. You'll also be communicating opportunities as well as technical challenges back to the stakeholders and users, because when you bring those needs to the development team and talk through them, they're going to brainstorm how to build it and what are the technical complexities, which ones are easy, which ones are difficult. Our third team is one you might not think about right away, but this is operations teams within your company. And these are teams such as sales agents and support agents who work directly, sometimes on the phone and sometimes in person with customers. Our example of our e-commerce website, Sophie's Threads, you have sales agents who will be interacting with that e-commerce website to guide their customers through the sales process. You'll also have support agents to help customers who might have questions, might be having difficulty. And your operations teams need to understand what is changing in your websites, in the tools that they work with. You may also be involved in communicating with those operations teams to help them with support and training material and help them understand how their jobs are going to be impacted by this project. Key competency is technical and soft skills. including Agile Scrum competency. You as the product owner and the Scrum Master are responsible for guiding the stakeholders and development team on effective Agile practices. You have to have a deep knowledge of Agile principles and why they are effective. You need to be very competent in the Scrum ceremonies and processes and be able to lead them. You also need to be able to maintain the product roadmap and the backlog. Continuous improvement is a cornerstone of Agile success. The sprint retrospectives are led by the Scrum Master, but everyone on the team is responsible, including the product owner. Secondly, within technical and soft skills is your domain knowledge of the company, the products, and the business goals. As product owner, you need to get to know your company and its business environment. You have to have strong business acumen because you need to understand real-world business circumstances and be able to make practical decisions that lead to successful outcomes. You need to do the research to become an expert on the product features, the business goals, who the users are, what do they need. And finally, within technical and soft skills is soft skills. It's important for you to have strong interpersonal skills because you will be interacting professionally with executives, managers, users, and the development team. You need to earn their respect and trust through your ability to communicate, lead, inspire, and learn. You need to be creative and innovative thinker in the face of change with strong problem-solving skills. And finally, you are a servant leader. It's important to be egoless and put the team first. Final key competency we're going to talk about today is managing project scope. This is where you create initially the product roadmap. This is where you translate the vision of your stakeholders and users into the product roadmap, showing high-level product goals and timelines. The process of road mapping can appear in conflict with incremental delivery, but dates and milestones are still important to your stakeholders, even though it's an agile project. They are not going to give you a blank check or an infinite timeline, so you need to communicate how you will achieve the product goals and how you will deliver value. Secondly, within managing project scope is determining business value. Your success turns on your ability to determine the business value of each of these features. And this is going to require that you negotiate and sometimes have conflict management with your stakeholders and users. It's going to require that you interact with challenging stakeholders and make educated predictions. You also will need to adjust and backtrack when necessary. So you have to be very good at working with ambiguity. Technical complexity significantly influences relative value. You need to determine which features are deliver the most business value, but also which ones are the most complex. And you need to be able to merge all of these factors into a comprehensive sequenced backlog. And finally, you need to be able to manage that product backlog. Our backlog must be prepared just in time for backlog refinement, also known as backlog grooming, and our sprint planning ceremonies. You need to work with your development team to decompose the roadmap epics into detailed stories and tasks and estimate them. It's important to ensure the development team is working on the highest value features first or their prerequisite dependencies. Limit work in progress, because if you water down and have too many activities going at once, it's been shown that you will actually deliver slower than if you focus the team on one goal at a time. By the end of the project, value has been iteratively delivered and confirmed many times. Who is product owner in Scrum? Well, product owner has business acumen and confidence. They have project manager competencies, including scope, time, communications, risk, and stakeholder management. They are a very competent business analyst and a communicator and negotiator. They are an innovator and problem solver, and they also have software development knowledge. This is a broad list of competencies for one person, and you have a significant responsibility for successful project outcome. But remember that our Scrum team is cross-functional and share the responsibilities. Our candidates possibly could be a senior business analyst with project management skills. It could be a project manager with a business analysis or a software development background. This could also be a senior developer or technical architect with strong business acumen and project management skills. Please leave a comment below if you're interested in a video exploring product owner training and certification. Now I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to give us a list of possible interview questions for a product owner job. And if you haven't signed up for ChatGPT, here's how you do it. First of all, search for OpenAI. As you can see, it's top of the list. So there's lots of people searching on this. When you come here, select OpenAI. Now, if you have not already signed up, you can click this, and there's 3 ways you can log in or sign up for an account. You can provide your email address, or you can log in with an existing Google, Microsoft, or Apple account. So it's easier with one of these 3, but you can still sign in with a with your personal email address or your work email address. Now, I already have a login, so I'm going to the login page and I will put in my credentials. This will bring you to this landing page. Now, it has 3 areas you can enter. We're going to use ChatGPT. Once you're here, you'll notice I already have a few chats here where I've been doing this query. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a job listing already where you can copy the full text. And you're going to ask ChatGPT to please write a list of interview questions organized in categories for the following job listing. I'm going to navigate over to the app where I have the job listing. And if you either Control A on Windows or Command A on Mac, it will select all of the text. And then you right click and press copy. Then you go back to ChatGPT and you can right click and paste. And it puts the whole job description in there. And then just press send message. And ChatGPT will start listing potential interview questions for this job listing. And we'll give it a moment. And it says these questions should help you assess the candidate's experience, skills, and alignment. It thinks we're the interviewer, but it's equally helpful to the person who is being interviewed. So you can ask it to regenerate the response, and it will give you a second. It will respond a second time and give you additional options. And you can compare the two. It's not necessarily going to come up with every single question an interviewer could ask you, but it's going to be a very good list. Now, we're also going to ask it one more question. And to do this, I'd like to start a new chat. So you go over here on the left and you click new chat, and it's going to start over. And I'm going to type in, please write a list of interview questions organized in categories related to soft skills for a product owner role. And once I have that typed in, I'm going to press click Send Message again. And again, ChatGPT will give us a list of potential interview questions related to a product owner job. And if you'd like, you can regenerate that response. And you can do that multiple times. It's not restricted to just 2. Okay, and so we have 2 sets of potential interview questions, one related to the job itself and the other related to soft skills that could be expected of you in the product owner role. Now, I'd also like you to note that both of those conversations were saved over here, and you can go back to each one to see the results. And as well, you can, in this version of ChatGPT, which is May 24, 2023 version, you can also share this URL, in which case you could copy that URL into an email and possibly send it to someone or save it somewhere. I hope that's helpful. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please press the like button. And I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. I have more great content planned on achieving project success through effective agile practice.